Welcome back to another episode of the Bookie and Bettor. I am your host, Robert Kowalski, joined once again by Nick Schulte,
Hey, Rob.
Randy Wyke.
Hey, Rob.
It is a special episode. We're going to have guests. And this is something I've always been looking forward to. We're going to have both Dane and Jenny from the Reno Cornhole Club talking a little bit about the growth and the explosion, actually, of cornhole. To think that I used to just think, grab a bag and there's a board and throw it.
Something you do at the beach.
Let's
have a few beers.
Let's go.
Yeah. I found out a lot of things when we talked to him last week. When you drink, you got to use a lighter bag. So that's been my problem when I'm playing out at the beach.
I'm sure that's it.
I'm not using lighter bags.
Drinking water.
Yeah,
yes,
drinking water
right?
and soda. Yeah, I got to go to a lighter bag.
Stay hydrated.
And he is, and of course we'll get into it, but Dane's number one player in the state of Nevada, so kind of cool thing. Really
glad to have him here. It's going to be
fun.
A really, really good segment piece to our episodes. But first, U.S. Open. Scotty Scheffler's good, Nick.
Really good.
Right.
Look at his stats over the past 6 years. He's been arrested. I believe he had a kid. How many tournaments has he won?
Well, he's won 5 out of his 9, right?
So we have him at the Book of Baldini's, the only golfer with single-digit odds. And by single-digit, I mean almost 350, plus 350. So you're looking at 7-2 odds to win this.
How many people are in that field?
Right. Yes, 70. Right. Rory, Xander, co-second choice at about 12-1. So this is as a massive underlay in golf as I've seen since the Tiger Woods days. I'll just go ahead and we'll move on. I give you a prop, Randy. Scheffler or the field? I'm going to give you Scheffler plus 350. The field minus 650.
You're going to give Scheffler plus
versus the field. You want the field is going to let you lay 650.
And you know how I feel about this. There's no question he's the best player in the world.
So?
I just don't know for the U.S. Open, because let's remember, the Memorial's a big tournament.
Yes.
The $4 million purse that he won. Can you get yourself back up? And again, Nick brought up a couple of the instances. He's had a lot going on in his life. Can you keep that same mental approach for a major against the field? I would have to probably go the field.
Randy, do you like money?
I love money, and I usually take the dogs, but
I wouldn't call him a dog, but
well, no, but he, plus 350, you're getting some money.
You're laying
I'm
with the field.
I'm going to take him. I'll take him.
Nick,
I would take the Scheffler.
You're both taking Scheffler against the field.
So with that said, I think there could be some good value with some other players in there. I mean, if he's at plus 350, you might, there's probably some value out there. But
well,
I don't like laying minus 650 though. For
watch out for Morikawa, Hovland, and Xander Schauffele right now is playing very, very well. Watch out for these guys. Again, with this tournament, distance is not going to be the key because you got to shape the ball. Mm-hmm. So, and the rough is huge. So, let's just see what happens.
Top 5 for those golfers you just mentioned?
Yeah.
Okay. Take a look for there.
Good value there.
Taking a look for their next head coach is the Los Angeles Lakers. For a long time, I thought it was going to be J.J. Redick.
I thought LeBron's the coach.
LeBron's the coach, right? That's correct.
And
LeBron's the
maybe
coach.
That's a move when we'll talk about here. But maybe the player coach is not, because go ahead.
No. It's not happening. It's not happening. Danny Hurley has turned down a offer that the Lakers gave for $70 million over 6 years.
Smart move.
He's returning to chase his 3rd straight NCAA men's basketball title. Would have made him 6th highest paid coach in the NBA. So it was weeks trying to get him. I wonder right now, basically he's going to go back to UConn for $20 million less. Doesn't seem like money really makes much of a difference to Hurley.
Well, I think there's more to it. And again, I don't have the stats, but I mean, what's the longevity of head coaches on teams LeBron James is on? It might be a 6-year, $70 million contract, but you get cut after a year. I mean, and it doesn't. I mean, you make 10.
That's actually a really great point. I thought about it. Forget about from the LeBron perspective, but just the Laker perspective. Yeah,
100%.
I know a lot of these coaches kind of shot themselves in the foot, but Frank Vogel, less than 2 years after winning a championship. Darvin Ham, less than a year after a conference final berth.
Does the bubble year still count as a champion? Let's be honest. Sorry.
No Laker head coach has lasted more than 1 to 3 seasons since Phil Jackson.
The go.
So that went back a bit.
And again, looking at the timetable, again, to be the 6th highest paid coach, to me, they had to be up there number 1. They're not going to do it because of the stature of their coaches and what they've done with coaching. Is it Bronny? Is it not Bronny? I don't think the kid's ready, but
the kid wasn't even good in college.
No. When you look at the money that the Lakers have invested in their big two, and let's be honest, at least through next year, I don't know that they need depth. They need more players.
You need a coach first.
Well, but I'm telling you what, to be the coach of this team, you got to be able to be, okay, I'm going to develop the young guys, which I don't think they have the talent. So I'm sure that he looked at that. And then again, I'd be kind of ticked. Let's face it, the guy's won 2 NCAA titles in a row, and he's going to become the 6th highest paid pro basketball coach. Lakers, you missed the boat on this one.
Speaking of teams with 2 players, the Dallas Mavericks in game number 3 are up to a 3-point favorite with a total 214 at the book at Baldini's. Randy, my favorite player, also former Knick, Celtics, Kristaps Porzingis, in game number 2, underneath the hoop, suffered a torn medial reticulum, allowing a dislocation of the posterior tibialis tendon.
Did you have to go to medical school to pronounce
that? I couldn't even pronounce those words. And again, I was wrong the other night. I really thought, because he's been labored already through the playoffs. He came out and played very well in game 1. I think this is going to hurt the Celtics a little bit on the road. I actually like the Mavs here in game 3.
So we're handicapping now whether or not Kristaps Porzingis is playing. This is basically what it's come down to. So we opened them 1.5. It's now up to 3. I guess those that are handicapping that he doesn't play.
I like Mavs and under.
I think the Celtics are better without him. How about that?
And again, I don't disagree from a standpoint of once he's on the floor, but more important with the Celtics is he adds that depth. Mm-hmm. And if you look at these first 2 games, to me, the depth of the Celtics, I mean, who was it that had the great game? Daru had the great game the other night. Who? So you add it's not really.
Hold on.
How do you pronounce it?
Chris, can we roll that back? What was that?
Daru.
Never heard of the guy.
Right.
I really think the depth is critical right now. So,
you look at the first half of the game the other night. I mean, on paper, the Mavs should have been blowing them out, but it was still, I think, the Boston had a 4-point lead going into the half.
Right.
Their shooting percentage was abysmal. So,
yep.
Well, they live and die with the 3, but again, if you look at these first 2 games, Dallas has got tired in the second half, 100%. And I think that's going to be the telling in this upcoming game.
Nick, into another vein of sports betting, do you know what other sporting event from college football is played on the day that the Army-Navy game is played?
Huh?
The Army-Navy football game.
Yeah.
Do you know if there's any other event that happens on that day from sports?
No, I do not.
Right. The answer is no, there isn't. But there is now, Randy, because they've now moved the Camellia Bowl and the Celebration Bowl during the same day as the Army-Navy game. I thought of you.
You know, did the NCAA do this?
That's right.
I'm sure there's some NIL money in there somewhere.
Oh, my Lord.
Hey, Randy, I have a question. Do the players that play for Army, Navy, and Air Force, can they get NIL money?
Ooh, that is a great question.
I don't know that, but I believe they can at the level that they're in. I believe they can. That's a good question. We need to look that up. I don't have the definition.
I think they're enlisted, though, because they're not civilians, technically. They're soldiers. I don't know if their enlistment starts after they graduate.
This is your homework.
Now I am. I'm looking that up when we leave here.
Yeah.
Now I'm upset. Okay, so what isn't it what they just said here? What's good for the goose is good for the gander. We're going to go back to 2017, 2018, pay all these kids. What about Army, Navy boys? And not just Army, Navy, Air Force. Yeah. Yes. NCAA, I'm going to find this out. This is a Randy White job today.
Other important things, such as the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. Joey Chestnut has been banned. He cannot perform to his championship levels because Nathan's has told him you are not allowed, you are banned from the hot dog eating contest on July 4th.
This is the definition of being a poor sport, in my opinion.
Well, for those of you that do not know, Joey Chestnut, the defending champion for many years in a row,
I believe 17 years,
has been told he is banned from the hot dog eating contest because he has partnered with Beyond Meats.
So, and now I want to get this straight. Somebody help me. This is a vegan hot dog that he is now representing?
No. Beyond Foods is completely vegan, right? It's plant-based food.
Are you kidding me? You're the world champion with one of the greatest hot dogs in the world, and you've gone vegan?
That's right. By the way, Kobayashi, same thing. We haven't seen Kobayashi in forever. You can actually see it. It's on Netflix. He was diagnosed and he can't taste. He doesn't know when he's full. He doesn't know when he's hungry anymore. This hot dog eating contest has ruined his gut completely. So he's out. He's completely out on eating hot dogs at a competitive level.
I get sick after just watching them eat 9 or 10 in a few seconds. But vegan?
That's right.
It's just a sponsorship.
Lord, what has this world?
Did he actually go vegan, or is he just sponsored?
No. He is sponsored by Beyond Foods.
And Nathan's taking
and
a little
Nathan's
personal. You're not sponsored.
Well, they haven't said that though, right? For the record, they haven't said. They simply said you cannot wear this apparel. You cannot have them as a sponsor.
I think that's different though. I mean, it's one thing to have a dress code, if you want to call it, versus your band. How are you going to ban?
Oh, no, yeah, the word is banned.
It's almost as ridiculous as Barry Bonds not being in the Hall of Fame,
Yeah.
But,
well, but now the vegan company is doing they're having a hot dog eating contest, right? Is that September or November? When are they doing that one?
The hot dog eating contest?
This company is going to do one now to offset so they can get
from Joey Beyond?
Yeah.
I'm entering.
Tofurkey?
Well, that was
out the line.
I thought we would get one episode.
I can't believe this.
I
had him.
I thought we'd get one episode, but no.
Nick, I was doing it. I was wrapping it up.
I know.
I swear.
Almost there.
Thank you, Reno Sparks.
I'm look at this. I'm literally at a loss for words. I literally thought we had him. I was about to say, hang on. I want you to watch what's coming up next. You know what? You're really proud about this, aren't you?
Because I knew you guys were going to try to do this to me today.
You're really proud. You're I can see you gloating. If you had some water or something, you'd be taking vigorous swigs, victory swigs.
I put in my little notes, they're going to try to stump me today with my phrase. Don Meredith, I'm thinking of you, buddy.
Everyone, go ahead and right after these little clips here of our next guest, watch these, and through the power and magic of technology, we'll come right on back after these short clips. Well, as I said, through the power of technology and our incredible producer, Chris, we are here with our newest friends of the Bookie and Bettor show, Dane DeLeon, Jenny Berriman of the Reno Cornhole Club. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
So happy to have you here. We always love to have guests, and unlike any episode, when the show has more guests on, we find out new and incredible things that I never thought of. So, I mean, everyone's played cornhole before, right? And so when I was introduced to the game a few years ago, I'm not going to get into when it was, I'm like, look, bag, throw into board, win game. Little did I know just how much more complex it is. It's literally F1 racing when you actually start to break down how much adjustments can be possibly made, all under the guise and, well, regulations of many. But first off, I'm going to go ahead and let Dane introduce himself.
Rob, the big thing is, again, as I mentioned, cornhole is great when you're drinking too. So I'm just saying, I'm in no league, but it's fun, but I'm terrible. But I learned some things from these guys, so I'm going to sharpen my game next time.
If you don't think we're not going to talk about handicapping from a betting perspective, right, and just how much a person could get trounced, we're going to set quite a number against you.
I'm just saying. And now I know there's all these different weighted bags. We're going to get into that. Oh, my next beach encounter, look out.
Dane, let's start off by telling us a little bit about how long have you been playing cornhole?
I've been playing cornhole for a little over 2 years. This last year was my most competitive season. I had a full system change in the way that I threw, the style of bag I threw. I used to step, and that caused some problems in the stickier board conditions and whatnot. So I had a full system change, looked at a lot of the pros and tried to copy and mimic some of what they're doing that's there. There's also the board IQ side of it, which is what I teach people and coach people on, is being able to read the board, read your opponent to figure out what style of shot to do that will give you the edge that you need to hopefully be able to be victorious in your game.
I could already have so many follow-ups just on that alone. Nick, what do you have?
I was just curious, is it more of an offensive or defensive game? Or is it just kind of, you throw that first bag and take it from there? Or do you kind of go in knowing your opponent and like, hey, I gotta set up blockers? Or, I mean, how much strategy goes on in before the game versus just adapting to what's going on?
There's a lot of pre-game strategy depending on what level you're at. The level that I'm at, most of the time when I go head-to-head with an ACL pro or someone of a high caliber level, they'll most likely what's called run, and they're just putting bags in the hole. Mm-hmm. And after so many rounds, either someone's going to blink or someone's going to have to change their game and not allow you, because I can get into a rhythm of just practicing in my backyard. I'm just throwing bags in the hole, in the hole, so it's no big deal. I'll just keep throwing bags in the hole. But then when someone puts a blocker in there, now I have to go into the bag of tricks that I have to either re-block them, see what they're going to do. So if I like it because it's a lot like chess, right? So if they put their first bag in, I put my bag in. They put their second bag in front of the hole. Right. If I put my bag in front of their bag, we're still even in the score, and I get to see what they do next. Mm-hmm. So if they throw an airmail attempt and miss it, now I can either put it on the board for one at that point right there, or I get a free airmail, because if I go off the board, we're still even. So there is a lot of in-game strategy, but knowing your players, watching their bag flights to see if it's more difficult for them to make a cut shot on the inside or outside, depending on the way that their bag is angled on their normal throw. If they throw the fast side or the slow side, those are all variations of the things that could potentially give you the edge.
What do you mean fast side? There's different.
So there's two sides of the bag. There's a fast side and a slow side of the bag. So normally most players play on the slow side, and we just throw it a little bit lower, and it goes and slides into the hole. When there's bags jammed up or bunched up, you then flip it to the fast side to get more speed to push through more bags.
Learn something new every day.
Mm-hmm.
There's obviously, Dane, the American Cornhole League, ACL, has a pro division and an open division. But what I want to talk about, and we'll probably get back to that in a moment, what was the inspiration for creating the Reno Cornhole Club? How did that come about? You are the president. Tell us a little bit about the backstory there.
I mainly wanted to just bring availability. Mm-hmm. That's availability and consistency are the two things that I love to bring to the RCC or Reno Cornhole Club, is giving people the ability to play somewhere consistent and go whichever avenue or direction they want to go. The beauty of it is I am the Nevada State Director for the ACL. So I am tied into the upper side of it if you're wanting to go pro. And we also have the people who just want to come out, drink, have some fun, throw some bags. So whichever direction that you want to go, the RCC has the ability to entertain both sides. And I think that having that availability and that openness of if you want to, you can, not if I want to, I have to drive 2 hours to go do it. It's right down the street. It's right here available. There's a bunch of availability to play cornhole from here to Sacramento. So from here to Vegas, you know, the sport of cornhole has just grown so much in such a short period of time that getting on that trail of being able to have the availability is super fun.
Jenny, to welcome you to the show, tell us a bit about what you would consider headquarters for the RCC. Is there one typical location that everyone plays at, or is it spread out no matter what day of the week might be, or maybe month? Does it change from season to season?
It doesn't really change from season to season. It's kind of wherever we're hosting it. So for us, for our regionals for the year, we're at the Boys and Girls Club off of 9th Street, and we have them there monthly. And then if you, like Dane was saying, traveling to Sacramento, they have their own locations there. And then for us, we're working on playing on Tuesdays and Thursdays at Baldini's Casino.
How about that?
Yeah.
That little bit of a newsbreaker here, Randy. That's really, really cool. Randy, where are we doing this at Baldini's?
This will be held up on the second floor in the Sierra Room. And again, we'll have a first bag tossed at 6:15. Is it?
Yep, bags fly 6:15. We'll have a knockout game at 6 o'clock if you want to kind of get your beak wet and throw, maybe test out your competition. And then, the bags fly 6:15.
I have a question for both of you, okay? And I know, in other sports, the hours that people put in practicing doing it. How long, or how many hours a day do you practice, or is it daily, or what?
For me, no. I don't practice daily, but I definitely don't play as often as Dane does. I'm more of a behind the scenes running it. So for me, it's just a couple hours a week that I put in.
See, I think, again, I can develop this at the beach, drinking. That would be my practice time.
You can, Randy, but you know something? You won't. You won't, Randy.
I'm going to think about it. How many hours a day do you practice?
The weather permitting makes it difficult. So I try and play at events 2 to 3 times a week, and if the weather permits, I try and throw 1,000 bags a day. That's always my goal.
There's like Tiger Woods numbers.
1,000 bags
Correct.
a day.
Yep. So
and the other big question I have with practice time, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So you practice outside.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of your matches are inside.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a change? I mean, obviously, wind, does it affect?
100%.
Of course.
So what I was going to mention is that you're saying if you're going to refine your skills at the beach, there is a huge tournament, Spencer McKenzie's Throwdown, which is the biggest cornhole tournament in the world. And they play in Ventura, California, right next to the beach and fairgrounds where everyone has to deal with the wind. Yep. So it takes the pro levels mildly down a notch because they can't throw certain shots because if you angle it, the bag is going to get taken by the wind. So it kind of evens the playing field where everybody has to play on the same conditions.
I don't think I'll be ready.
No, you're not.
It's in August. You should come with us.
I don't think I got a lot of 1,000 tosses a day.
They have a novice division. You can just come on down.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and to your point that you were saying earlier with the ACL has a pro division, which is pro, advanced, and open. It's technically called the open division, is where the pro division is able to play for the regular people. Then when they go to nationals, that's pros and elites only. So in our realm, we have the open division, competitive division, intermediate division, and if we have enough people, a novice division. So we can potentially have 4 divisions in our regional events or local events or our state championship, which is coming up in about a month, July 13th.
July 13th is the state championship.
Is the Nevada State Championship.
Where's it taking place?
It's going to be at the Boys and Girls Club.
Here.
Yep.
Off of 9th Street.
Off of 9th Street.
Championship is here.
Yep. We have
Not south.
Nope.
It's the biggest
Here.
little city in the world.
Yeah. We're going to have plaques made and everything for the champions. There's going to be juniors, seniors, singles, doubles, women's, bunch of different events that you can play in.
One day?
It's all in one day.
So this is great. So to dovetail, let's stay right here. Actually, there's so much more that our city can do, right?
Correct.
And I think that the potential to host big, like really huge tournaments, like Bagmania, Spencer McKenzie, you mentioned,
Yes.
down in Ventura. What are the plans for expanding this entire sport here in Reno?
One of the things I like to do with the RCC is tap into the community. So I want to tap into the community to get involved in doing these big tournaments. So I want to bring recognition to small businesses, big businesses, all of the things that are beautiful within our own city here come together in an event, and that event is cornhole. So if I can figure out a way to bring all of those different levels of people and styles of people together to all enjoy an event, that would be the goal.
And Rob, I was just reading last week. I mean, obviously, pickleball, but cornhole is right there as one of the fastest growing, and you call it a sport in the country.
Look, it's the whole thing, right? Now, obviously, once there's the spark, it creates the fire. It's being televised now, not only on CBS, on ESPN. So TV's catching it. That there's going to be a real push, and the popularity is only going to grow from there, Randy. Absolutely. Dane, so the things that I like to do, I do it because I have fun. I get passion of it. It returns back to me. I could see already in how passionate you are. Tell us a little bit about what we have here at the table. I know this is poor radio, but here in our studio, we have another uniform. And I see, obviously, this is actually
This
part
is
of the
a
ACL Elite. Tell us a little bit about this.
This is the next level down from the pro status is ACL Elite. To get to it, you have to have a certain level of gameplay. You're allowed to go to certain events that elite players are only allowed to go to. It represents the next stage in progression for being a professional cornhole player. I look at it as AAA baseball to the major leagues, right? An elite player is the AAA baseball style. We still go out and search for sponsors. Logic Cornhole has been my sponsor for a long time. I have Pucks as well as Girls Throw 2 as sponsors on my jersey that's here, and I wear these out to the bigger events to give them brand recognition while I'm at the other events. Then it has the big bushes, baked bean style that's there. But again, you have the logos. My bag sponsor is up here, and then my other sponsors are down here. It has your name, the year that you're going for, and this. The only difference between this one and the pro jersey is just this little section here that says elite versus saying pro.
Oh, cool.
So I don't think I can get into that jersey.
Yeah, it might be a little small.
But again, having the
Tailoring is for, Randy.
having the availability to even achieve this in such a small area, I think is incredible. In all fairness and actuality, if you committed for a year, we could work together and you could potentially get to a pro status or an advanced status or an elite status.
McKenzie next year. I'm there. I'm telling you. I'm going next year. I'm going to practice. I don't know if I can do 1,000 tosses a day, but I'm going to get there.
So a lot of times when I coach people and I send them home with homework,
sure.
The homework side of it is to take a tally, and I normally try and do 100 bags gets your percentage. So I do a lot of stuff with numbers, and I like the science behind the numbers of if I throw 100 airmails and I make 60 of them, I run a 60% airmail. Right. So in the shot, if I have a bag off the board and I need to put this bag in the hole, what is my higher percentage of shot? Is it
it's
a push
odds
shot?
For cornhole?
Correct.
Basically.
So that's kind of what I look at, and so I try potentially 10 different shots, throwing 100 bags for each one of those to get my percentages of what I'm throwing in the wind, not in the wind, indoor, outdoor, and that's how I refine my game.
Rob, I have one quick question. We talk about the elite.
Mm-hmm.
How do you become a pro? What does it take to get to that next step?
So a pro, you have to there's a few ways that you can.
Real quick, can you just take us through, like, hey, you start off with amateur, and then, is there a test, or like you said, you have to have so many ranked games at a certain?
So I did
you had to defeat somebody?
the not smart route, and I
It's
went
like Mortal Kombat.
I went straight into the upper division. So what I normally tell people is if you're just starting out, go to these events and win a bunch of things, right? Get some ACL hardware where you get a plaque that says that you won singles in the intermediate division, right? Because you're going to then make the progression up there. You'll have this wall of memorabilia of all the things and show your progression. They base the standings and the seeding off of your PPR, which is points per round. So if you were to come as a brand new player to an event and you've never thrown before, you would be able to qualify for the novice division if you wanted to. And in that, because you don't have a PPR. Then after that event, you'll have a PPR. And if your PPR is really high, then you're no longer qualified to go into those lower events.
Correct.
Because again, we want to try and keep it as fair as we can. If you have someone throwing a 10 through the course of a tournament, they don't belong in the competitive division or the intermediate division. They belong in the advanced division with all the other people who are throwing 10s and 12s consistently. Right. So we try our best to make it as fair as we can without losing anybody's interest, because there's no point in coming here. I'm just going to get mopped up by all these other guys throwing 10s and 12s, right? We want to make it inviting and wanting people to continue to show their support for coming out. And again, if you get bit by the bug, that is another beauty of cornhole is you don't need a lot. You need a good set of boards. Like from Logic Cornholes, what the RCC uses, their tournament-style premium boards, a set of bags. Logic Cornhole does that as well. Premium bags, ACL stamped, and then you just need space. So if you have those three things, you can get good really quick, because then you can put the reps in. Correct. If you go and play basketball, you need a court, you need the light, so you need some sort of lighting, daytime, nighttime, you have the wind condition, or if it's inside, or golf, very expensive to get in and get practice and get good. On top of that, you can't really pick up a basketball, play it for a year, then go to an event where you potentially get paired up with Steph Curry. In cornhole, you can pick up a bag, play for a year, go to an event, and get paired up with the number one player in the world as your partner at one of these events. Yeah. And I think that that's pretty cool. Like, hey, I'm gonna be your partner. I just saw you on ESPN last night.
Exactly. Cool. Jenny, in my line of work as a bookmaker, I've got a lot of superstitions. It shouldn't be that way because it's math. But I have a lot. Like one of them in particular is like, every once in a while, my supervisor will tell me like halfway into the day, hey, we're having ourselves a day. And I go crazy. I'm like, do not ever tell me how we're doing, good or bad, until we close the lights off. So that's like a superstition of mine. Do you have any pregame rituals or superstitions that you have before you set up?
Oh, dancing.
That's great.
I don't enjoy playing without my music. So a nice little playlist, mostly in Spanish on Pandora. And as long as I'm rocking out, that's the best way for me to do it.
Dane, how about yourself?
I don't really have any pregame rituals that I do. I just try and get reps in on the board to get my percentages where they're supposed to be. I do like listening to music, trying to make it like I'm the only one there. I'm throwing against myself. So I'm going to put a blocker up. Yep, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to get around that bag. Or, hey, that's my bag too. Let me just clean it up for an even wash out there. But I try and make it to where I'm not necessarily playing against someone. I'm just now competing against myself.
You see,
which is the hardest critic.
I would highly recommend a shot of Patron before each game. Just get you nice and loose. I mean, it takes like 6 to 8 strokes off my golf game.
Yeah, there you go.
A little better.
So Dane, now here we are, years into, and I don't want to say years. This is actually, in the grand scheme of time, it's in its infancy.
Correct.
It's really, really very, very young.
Yes.
So, in your eyes, in your vision, what do you think would be the future goals, first as a player and then for the RCC?
As a player, obviously I'd like to go pro and be able to bring the pro mentality and atmosphere of what it means to be a professional athlete to all of the players and members that come to our events. People are starstruck on certain aspects of things and whatnot or whatever, and I pride myself on being a good athlete, leading by example, showing good sportsmanship, all great things that I learned from all the guys that I watched growing up, Steph Curry's, Klay Thompson's, Peyton Manning's, Joe Montana's.
He's kind of plugging the Warriors a little bit in the area.
But yeah, I want to, that would be my goal, is to go pro. I'm going to try and do it at Worlds this upcoming year in August. Gonna go out there, give it the good old college try. And for the RCC, I'd like it to be a staple for cornhole where, again, they have consistency and availability to come out, enjoy our events, give back to the community, refine your skills, or just have a couple shots of Patron and hang out and have a good time with some good people.
Sounds like a great
Go
time.
to the lighter bags on that.
Go to the lighter bags, yes.
I've heard, Dane, you mentioned a couple of particular shots in the game. Jenny, do you have a particular shot that you have that's one of your favorites?
Oh, absolutely. I'm great at blocker bags.
Okay.
Right on the board, no reason. And
None at all.
Airmail that comes out of the middle of nowhere.
She'll have first bag, and it's an open board,
Sure.
and she'll just drill an airmail for no reason. It's just so like sometimes people do that to be demoralizing. It's like, I'm so much better than you. I don't even need bags on the board. I'm just going to drill it.
Here's how we're going to do this. Right.
How many sets of boards and bags do you have?
Well, I share his boards. Sets of bags that I have, 50.
50 bags?
Wait,
Maybe, yeah.
Sets
50.
of bags?
50 sets of bags. Mm-hmm.
You don't buy diamonds or jewelry. You go out and buy cornhole bags.
That's true. All from Logic Cornhole.
Yeah.
Perfect. And I think we talked about this the other day, but you can't switch up bags like you would a bowling ball or anything.
There are some rules that changed, and I'm not 100% on it at the current moment, but I do believe you get one bag change per game, potentially after the game has started. I don't know if that went all the way through yet, but they were talking about doing that. One thing you can't do is you can't have the same bag. So if you have a black top bag and I have a black top bag, we normally do the same thing that you do in the beginning of the game, is where you spin the bag really fast, either up in the air so it lands on the ground or on the board, and whichever way the sewn seam side points, that person has won. So if we both had black bags, we would spin it, and whoever wins the spin gets to keep the black bags, and the other person has to go grab a different set of bags. So I try and bring a bunch of the same color bags so that we just keep having to spin every time I bring bags back, so that I eventually win.
Mental note taken there. I'm going to make sure I get plaid bags.
It's the mind games. The mind games of
Plaid bags. Not giving up my bag.
But with potentially trying to be on ESPN and CBS, they have what are called broadcast bags, which have to be a certain style. So I believe it's 80% similarity from the top side to the bottom side. Has to be that to be able to be on the broadcast, for people to be able to see them and whatnot or whatever. So I try and practice with broadcast bags, which is kind of good because they're normally just a plain color. So if they're a plain color, then I use my orange bags or my blue bags. And if you have orange bags, I'll just use my blue ones.
This has been probably as much knowledge that I've gained in a really long time. I'm just so thrilled to have you both here today and talk about what's going to be, and I know it's going to be, a massive, massive new sport. And I say new. It's like I said, as I mentioned just a few moments ago, it's clear that what's happened is the trajectory that it's reached right now is just way, way up, and I'm really excited to see it continue to grow.
Well, what is the prize money for the ESPN tournaments? It's up there now, right?
I think last year it was $1 million was the final. ACL had paid out $1 million, and I believe this year it's 1.5 maybe
Total for the whole season.
I think that's there.
Prize money.
But I mean, Spencer McKenzie's again is a big tournament. If we can bring one here like that, I think last year they paid out over $300,000 in the course of a weekend. So I think first place in doubles was $50,000 to $60,000.
I'm there
each.
Next year. I'm there.
So it's like you can go away for a weekend and come back with a cool $60,000.
There is seriously, there's no reason why we can't have like a major event like at Idlewild or somewhere downtown.
I'm already visualizing my swing.
Yeah.
Well, Rob, we're looking, and I talked to Dane about using our event plaza, the lot, to maybe do some of these big outdoor tournaments. I got some ideas that we're going to discuss, which I think will really help. So watch out.
Dane,
Cornhole's coming to Reno.
I actually would love to, before we wrap up, tell us, please, where can the people that are listening and are watching us here, where can they follow your journey and stay up to date on the Reno Cornhole Club's events?
So the Reno Cornhole Club, we have a website, renocornholeclub.com. We also have a Facebook that puts most of all of our stuff, all of our ducks in a row for keeping up to date. We have a Google Calendar that lists all of our events. I'll be updating that once we get into Baldini's on Tuesdays and Fridays. It'll list all the events that are there. On our Facebook page, we post up our podium finishes, our podium winnings, upcoming events, fundraisers, sponsorships, and fundraisers and charity events. That's what I was looking at. And then
our regionals and our state championships.
Yeah, everything will be on there on Facebook as well as on the website. My parents are ones that don't have Facebook, so we need to figure out a way to tap into the people who don't have Facebook. Therefore, we have a website that we try and keep up to date. And then downloading the app Scoreholio is very important because
remember that one.
Yeah, that's
all of these all these addresses, by the way, are going to be listed at the bottom of the screen and in the comments below, of course, where you could find more information on RCC and everything that we just talked about. So just take a look at those, and you see exactly far more information than you were getting just from here. So follow along, and you could see them in the comments below.
Yeah. So the Scoreholio is an app that allows all tournament directors to be able to post their events. It's also awesome because it's a geolocated app. So if you were to take your bags to Florida, you could pop open Scoreholio and see within a 50-mile radius or whatever radius that you have if anybody's playing any cornhole.
That is great.
So we've had people from New Hampshire.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Denver, and anytime they come here.
Yeah, we're a destination spot where people come here to have fun and hang out for a vacation. Might as well throw some bags and have some fun as well doing that. And I think that that's pretty cool. So again, giving the availability and the open venue to be able to have that is pretty cool. So yeah, downloading Scoreholio, that'll show you all of the tournaments that are being run by all the different clubs here, depending off of your radius that you set. And then the only other one would be if you're attending one of our ACL events, downloading the ACL Players app, making a profile. Both of those apps are free. If you want to get more into it, there is a paid subscription on both of them if you wanted to, but again, not necessary. If you also just show up to one of our events, either the ACL one or a Scoreholio one, we'll walk you through everything.
This was incredible.
You also don't need bags. You know, again, if you're just wanting to check out the scene,
come on in.
Come on in.
Down.
You don't need anything. We have plenty of players that have multiple sets of bags. I bring multiple sets of bags just in case some players don't have bags. Right. Our events are tailored for people to come out and have fun.
Real quick, is there anywhere local to like get these the equipment, or is it mainly online? Like the Shields have them, or any of the big sports
They probably
stores, or is it you kind of maybe if you're an amateur or something to start with, but it's not.
They probably do. Again, I'm a sponsored player from Logic Cornhole where I get a discount on things, so I put my discount code out there for people to be able to use it. On top of that, I recommend people to get the Logic Cornhole boards from the fact that those are the boards that we play on at our weekly events, at the regional, at the championship. So then you can practice on a board you're going to eventually go and compete at, because they have different variations of speed. So if you practice on a board that's really slow and get really good on a slow board, and then you come play at one of my tournaments and my board is super fast, you now have to adjust your game for my board. But if you practice on the same board, you're at least in an even playing field.
And kind of back to what we were talking about earlier with weather. Do you feel like elevation plays a factor in any of it?
Yes.
Throwing a bag up in Tahoe versus sea level is going to be a
Yeah, I went and played in, I don't know if it's elevation, but I went and played in Minnesota, and I couldn't get my bag up the board. I was throwing fast side. I went to North Carolina, same thing. I couldn't get my bag up the board. I didn't have a low enough trajectory. I brought a brand new set of bags, hoping that the cardboard factor of it not being broken in, and it's just a square brick would help me. Didn't help me at all. No boy, no. So. Yeah,
I'm really going to have to be careful drinking up a Tahoe then, because that elevation
you get better the more you drink.
Okay.
Well, if you're going to partner with me, I'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
Because I can't have you losing the game for me.
We're gone, girl.
But yeah, also on our website, we have the availability. We have some merchandise that we have that people can get and show some support and support your local clubs and whatnot or whatever. All of that stuff is available on our website, as well as direct clickable links for all of our sponsorships now and future sponsorships where you can just click on it and it brings you right to their website.
And again, Rob, in July now, people can come over to Baldini's on Tuesdays and Fridays and watch league play going on.
Or join.
Come out and play.
Yeah, come out and play. Everybody's
all
welcome.
the bags, all the boards.
Why watch when you can play?
That's it.
We could be partners. We could
And
be
win the whole
partners and then
thing.
win the whole thing. You get a little walking around money.
My practice tosses in real quick.
We could win. You never know what partner he's going to get.
That's
Take
very
the whole thing. I took third last week by myself. Couldn't beat him. But
Well, I tell this guy, I played back in the old days, but if I'd have had the 3-point line, Steph Curry would have been in deep trouble.
Jenny, Dane, thank you so much for joining us today. Can't wait to see you back out in another venue other than this little studio here. Get a chance to come out and play with you. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.